Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, so the goals of today's training is to complete the onboarding, the to-dos for participating in this program participation, so learning what you need to do for next steps after this training, and then technical assistance, knowing who to go to for technical assistance, selling to the program, and education and networking. We did our partner introductions, so everyone part of the LFPA program, so DATCP, Marbleseed, Food Hub, and Farmers Union. Next, we have program overview. So most of you know the program by now, but overall, it's to strengthen the food and egg supply chain resiliency, supporting Wisconsin farmers, and really distributing fresh, nutritious foods to underserved communities. LFPA program impacts from 2023. So we had 62 counties served, 206 types of products delivered, 134 growers participating, 64 hunger relief sites receiving deliveries, and over $1.3 million of food delivered. Again, that was last year. Okay, so next we have so in here we had our Wisconsin LFPA from Farm to Food Access video. I believe we decided not to show it. I apologize, Tay, are we showing this or not? If not, we can jump on, and then I will send the link to this video at the end just to save a little bit of time in our training, and you can watch at your own time. I'll do it. Okay, so we're gonna get started with Marbleseed.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll send that link out. I really encourage everybody to watch that video. It's great showcasing all the work we've done in 2023. And then instead of doing some intros, if you want to just put your information in the chat, like we said, like a little bit about your farm, what you're growing for LFPA, whether you're a first year, second year producer in the program, that'd be great. Just to, again, to save some time, we'll try to get some time back to you so it doesn't go the whole till 4:30. So, and then, so for contracts, so contracts were sent to all producers on Friday, January 5th, and this was via DocuSign. So you should have seen an email come through for DocuSign. What is included on your contract is a cover sheet with your name, either producer identification number, the contract amount you have for 2024, and then who your Marbleseed representative is. So Katie, if you want to go to the next slide, please. That's what that cover sheet, it's kind of hard to see, but it's on the left side there, which has all that information. The next part we'd be looking at is the product and price list. So after you review the terms of the contract, you can see that information. If you have any questions at all on anything on it, just reach out to your Marbleseed representative and we can get back to you and get some clarification. And then that product and price list, this is what we're using to really make it easier for Food Hub when they're in the thick of the season and we have products that are coming in, just to make sure that we have the products and the prices agreed upon. So it's ready to go. So when those products are ready for in season, they can be communicated with Food Hub, and then we can go through that way. So how this works is there's a drop down with the most common the products and then the most common specifications for wholesale packing associated with them. So you'll see cucumbers in a 5/9 bushel with 20 pounds associated with it. So that's will be in the drop down. And then you'll have that column on the right is where you'll be putting your price information for that product. So it's a really good idea if you have not completed this yet to have a conversation with your Marbleseed representative before completing this. So we're on the same page and we don't have to kind of go back and forth on this contract to get those prices figured out. So really encourage you to have that information go through it with their representative before putting it through on this sheet. That next one then is is where you will sign. So the producers, the first line, you'll see that button right there. You can click on that and it'll make an electronic signature for you. It'll automatically date it, and then so that'll be listed there. So you can just click that button and then it'll let you know that it is signed. So the next slide, please. After that then is the photo and testimonial release. So we really love having photos and testimonials in this program because it really shares all the amazing work that we're able to do within this program, and it really highlights you and your farm as well. So this is optional. You can sign this the same way, and it'll put the signature, it'll have your printed name in there and your farm name, and then it'll date it for you as well. So there's both a section for photos as well as a section for the testimonial. So we really love this. It's really, Forrest will talk a little bit about storytelling, and we have to have this to be able to feature you at all in any of that storytelling. The next part this is for produce growers only. This is the produce quality and safety letter of guarantee. So we'll be talking about food safety a little later on today, but there is no verification requirement for food safety, but we are asking produce producers to complete this so we can have it on file. One question we get a lot is that 24-hour food safety contact name that you can see kind of in the middle of that sheet. That is just whoever is managing the food safety part of your farm. For some larger farms, they'll have somebody whose sole job it is food safety. But a lot of farms that are participating in this program, right, they're managing the farm, they're managing their food safety. So you can put your information there as well if you're the one who is taking care of the food safety aspects of the farm. And then there is an option in the contract then to upload your certificate of insurance. A lot of people have already sent this in either with their application or with other onboarding documents. But this is just an option that you are able to submit your certificate of insurance through DocuSign as well. But if you don't have it ready or you're not, you don't want to include it, that's not a problem. You can send it to us outside of this document. The next thing, though, we need, and we really are encouraging producers to only submit this through DocuSign, is that W-9 tax form. So that is required for USDA grants, that we get this information to prove that we can, or to show that we can, pay you through this program. If you have any questions, just let us know. And again, your Marbleseed representative can help you out on the W-9. Are there any questions on the contract? Just monitor the chat, but otherwise I will let Eric take over.
All right, thanks, Tay. Okay, so in this section, we're going to be going over program standards and learning some of the terminology that you'll hear throughout the season, and hopefully we'll be able to avoid any jargon-related confusion. I'm sure everyone's noticed we tend to communicate using a lot of acronyms and technical terms, so it's important that everyone understands what we're talking about. So it's best to clear up any of the terminology fog before the season gets underway. Next, please. So included in your grower binder, we have a standard operating procedure flow chart that we're including this year, just to kind of clear up any pitfalls that might arise on the way from your product coming out of the field and moving to a food access partner. So this is a good reference point that you can use if you have any questions about what you need to do as far as standard operating procedure. Next, please. So to offer products to the program, you have to submit a transport and shipping request. We ask that you submit this each week by Thursday night, the week before transportation is needed. That way that the results of this survey can be tabulated on Friday to project to food pantries for the following week. This is important because receiving a transportation and shipping request will allow us to start scheduling routes and contact food access partners to schedule deliveries. The pantries don't all operate with the same 9 to 5 hours as traditional businesses. They often require special arrangements for receiving personnel to be available. Because of this, and to maintain a positive relationship with these partners who we like to treat as we would customers, it's necessary to give ample notification about delivery dates and the contents of said deliveries. Sometimes certain food access partners will not have the need for some products being provided, and in the interest of maintaining the integrity of the product that you producers have put long hours and hard work into providing, we aim to distribute the product as quickly as possible after pickup. After receiving a transportation and shipping request, the producer will receive confirmation that the Wisconsin Food Hub has a date and time window. As we establish a route, we'll start to figure out a day that works for pickup after establishing this route earlier in the season. When transportation is requested, you can expect to receive an email the afternoon before about a pickup to confirm a pickup window. Be aware, these windows are usually about 2 hours, but travel and dock times can vary based on traffic, weather, etc. So we ask that you stay flexible here. We will reach out to you. If you would like, we can have a driver contact you with an ETA when they're about an hour from your location. As a producer, it is your job to communicate any changes to a pickup from your projections. If changes are minimal, we can alter the paperwork upon the pickup, but if there's a significant change that may increase the amount of pallets needed, we need to make changes in the route because peak season pickup can often fill our vehicles to capacity. Again, because of this, it's important that we know about changes as soon as possible so we can make accommodations. Next, please. Here's our flow for picking up product. So the Food Hub will contact you to confirm your pickup window. When we arrive, we ask that you have your product packaged and labeled. We will then palletize. We ask that you are present and ready to assist the driver when they show up at your location. And again, I stress we need to make changes to the BOL before the truck leaves to confirm the contents of your shipment. Next, please. So we use BOLs. You'll hear that term a lot. It's an abbreviation for a bill of lading. It's a legal document that's required for transportation and verification of cargo. It's important that this document is correct because a BOL could be checked by law enforcement against the contents of a vehicle used to ship products. In addition, the paperwork is necessary when verifying delivery to a food access partner or food pantry, food shelf, etc. Our BOLs come in the form of a purchase order that we will manufacture at the Food Hub on our software, which is referred to as LFM. It's the local food marketplace. It's also used for payment. So again, it's important that all of the numbers are correct. So once we make delivery, the food access partner will verify that quantities are correct. And after that, that is the number that we'll be using to issue payment. So again, I stress it is very important that any of the legal documentation that we're using to accept delivery of your product is correct because payment will be based on the confirmation of those pieces of paper. So we can create the BOLs here, the purchase orders at the Food Hub once we receive your projection. Again, that's important why we receive the projections because we'll be using our own computer software to create this. So if a subcontractor is picking up your food for transportation, we will provide that driver with the paperwork that they will bring to your site to pick up. If there are any changes to a subcontracted driver pickup, we need to know about that within 24 hours. And any delays in this process can slow down your payment. An excessive time lapse in submission and signed verified documents could result in an unverified distribution, which could potentially not be eligible for payment. Next slide, please. So what are the steps to correct problems with packing, paperwork, and communications? If you as a grower are having trouble achieving or understanding LFPA standards, a grower referral may be issued. Referrals are part of the grower training process of the Wisconsin LFPA and are used as an educational opportunity to maintain quality control within the program. To maintain program standards, all transports must have a Wisconsin LFPA quality control inspection report available for the food access partner to use if necessary. This paperwork only needs to be filled out in the case of a rejection. It needs to be present whenever a delivery is made. In addition, if Wisconsin Food Hub or other partners witness or are notified about problems, the referral process will be implemented. Our drivers travel with this piece of paper whenever we make a pickup. So it is available if Wisconsin Food Hub is doing a pick. If you are getting a pickup from a pantry or doing self-deliveries, you are required to have this available. So if you do not have access to this form, just reach out to the Food Hub. We will make sure that you can make copies that you can bring along with you, or we will provide them with or to the pantry for you.
Erica,
next, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the question is, what happens if when we load our product on the truck in good condition and it gets damaged in transit?
Our trucks are fully insured. So if there is, like, say, a vehicular accident or something, then we will fill out an insurance claim and you can still get paid.
Kristen, was there anything else? Any other further question on that?
Yeah, so this actually happened to us last year. We shipped some tomatoes, they got damaged in transit because another, something squished them. Is that, I guess, is that, whose responsibility is that then, like, if it wasn't wrapped properly and shifted in transit?
If it is a transport related damage and products were packed within program specifications, then to me, I believe that would be an insurance claim. If they were
Okay.
packed out of spec, say overweight boxes, like if you had 50 pounds of tomatoes packed loose into a box and they were collapsing under their own weight, that's different. That's a packing standard issue.
Great, thank you for clarifying. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. All right, payment process. So as I said before, we're using a computer program called LFM to draft our purchase orders for the program. If you're using your invoice, your own personal invoice from your own company, as I know a lot of farmers are, we'll use these two pieces of, sorry, just one second. Right, we'll be using the two invoices and matching up the numbers on them for your own records. So we will contact you if there's any discrepancies to make sure that everything is verified. Again, 24 hours on invoicing is required for the program, and we are sticking with the 60-day payment for last season, but we're hoping to be able to increase the payment time and be issuing payment to growers in a 1 to 2 week time period. This will come either via direct deposit or a check. Some of you have reached out to me already. We have ACH forms that are going out that you'll fill out for our bookkeeping department, and then we will issue payment directly to you. Next, please. All right, labels, standards, and ordering packaging. So as part of a wholesale readiness program, packing standards for products in the Wisconsin LFPA are strictly enforced. All specs are listed as part of your grower binder. If you're selling a product that isn't listed, please contact your Marbleseed specialist to establish a standard for sale that you will use for the entirety of the 2024 LFPA season. Boxes and produce must be clean, in proper wholesale standard boxes and properly labeled. For meat producers, we ask that all meat is packed in boxes less than 40 pounds, clearly labeled with the producer and LFPA contract numbers, contents, and packing date. Boxes should also be clean and undamaged. Unfortunately, we cannot guarantee any returns of boxes in the Wisconsin LFPA program. We're going to treat it like any wholesale program. Once your boxes go out, they're sold into the program, so you're going to have to build the cost of your packaging into the costs or the selling price that you're using. Next, please. So as a producer in the Wisconsin LFPA program, you'll have access to the packaging assistance program. We know that one of the largest expenses associated with ordering wholesale standard wax boxes is the cost of delivery and liftgate services that can often exceed the cost of the packaging itself. So by utilizing the package assistance service, you can have your packaging and materials delivered directly to the location, and you are not responsible for the cost of the delivery. You are, however, responsible for the cost of the packaging, and we ask that you make that in a timely fashion to Tri-County Auction, who is the third we're working with to sell the packaging into the program. This process can take up to 4 weeks from order to delivery, so make sure your first package order is placed at least that long before your first scheduled pickup, so we have time to make delivery and you have time to have packaging available to get your first order packed before pickup. Right, at this point, you should have also all received via the listserv the package order form that was sent out as part of a mass mailing. That populates a spreadsheet that we use to place our orders. So if you have any questions about that, you can contact me personally at the Food Hub. We can go through it one-on-one, or I can fill out the form for you, but that's what we've been using in this season as opposed to direct calls last season, so that we have a little bit better way to track everything as far as records and to make sure that we're getting orders out in a timely fashion. Next, please. So calculating your packaging needs. So you can use your spec sheets to estimate the number of boxes that you're going to need for a season. As an example, if you're projecting out 500 pounds of zucchini for the season, and you know that zucchini is packed in 20-pound increments as per your spec sheets, you can divide that 500 pounds by 20 pounds, and you'll know you need 25 boxes for your zucchini needs for the season. Just follow the same formula for all of the products you'll be selling into the program, and you'll be able to estimate the amount of boxes that you need for the entire season. Also, you do not need to order all of your boxes for the entire season all at once. You can order them as you need, so long as you have them before the date of your pickup. Using non-standard boxes, again, may result in a referral, suspension of delivery. So please make sure that the boxes that you're using are within spec for the program. And if you have any questions, just reach out to your Marbleseed rep or talk to Food Hub, and we can figure out what we need to do. Next, please. Traceability stickers. All boxes need to be properly labeled. On the right side, you can see there's a template. This template I have available. I can send this out if you do not have your own templates available on your farm. So what we need on each box is the name of your farm. We need to know your LFPA producer number, your address, your product, and the packing date. Please make sure that this is well adhered to the box that you're sending so it doesn't fall off. If you don't have access to your own personal labels, as I said before, I have these available. I will send them out as a PDF form. You just print them out and cut it in half, and it makes 2 labels per. Next, please. So here are some examples of what good packaging looks like. We see some good labels. We see everything is contained within the corners of the pallet. It's stacked in alternating levels, clean boxes, well wrapped. Tomatoes on the top on the example on the left so they don't get smashed by the heavier items below them. So this is all excellent packing. This is what your packing standards should look like for the program. Next, please. This is an example of poor packing. We have cardboard boxes instead of wax boxes. Cardboard boxes tend to collect condensation. They'll collapse under their own weight. We've got tomatoes that are overpacked. Dylan,
no,
yes,
no.
we do provide pallets, and we can do a pallet exchange where we can drop one off the first week, and then we'll just swap it out every week as we return. You can also see egg crates are being used here. Egg crates, banana boxes, these are all non-standard packaging, and they're not allowed in the program. These would all result in a referral.
Có sự nông lợi thì chỉ muốn thợ đâu á, chỉ muốn áp thợ lại chỉ đồ thợ tên này trong mất đâu pallet tên nữa nè. Để biết sai chỉ muốn đâu vậy thì chứ chỉ muốn thợ đâu đâu pallet, nhưng mà mình sẽ làอยู่tao mất đâu pallet hết rồi chả nè.
We'll see if we're able to get that question back.
Oh, okay.
Is there anything we can bring up to the group with the question, or Kang or Sully?
Sully or Ken, you should be able to select English and speak into the English channel. We are in the English channel. I don't think, Jay, I don't know if you are, everybody, yes. So everybody, if you can, everyone select, go to the globe at the bottom of your screen and select the English channel. That way, when the participant speaks in Mon, then the interpreters can interpret in English and you can like listen to it at the same time. So if everyone can English at the bottom of your screen, then now Sully or Ken, you can like speak into the English channel and everybody will be able to hear you.
Yeah, so one of the
Chief's question was,
says that, you know, if she
what
doesn't
if
have a
she
lot
only
of
has,
boxes,
maybe
does she?
5 or 6
Sully,
boxes?
Ken, you're speaking at the same time. Sully or Ken, just choose who.
Okay,
Ken,
okay, Chi, go ahead.
Ken,
Oh,
go
okay.
ahead.
Yeah, Chief's question was, what if she only has like maybe 5 or 6 boxes? Does she necessarily have to palletize it?
No, we can palletize them. If it's just a small order, we will have pallets available and we can load them onto the truck.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Anything more than a flat, anything more than one solid layer on a pallet is going to be required to be palletized ahead of time. But as I said, we can provide a pallet for anybody who anticipates a larger need, but we have them available on our trucks. And anything that's light like that doesn't need to be palletized. But if you're more than 1 layer tall, we ask that you're palletized and ready to go by the time we get in. But our drivers will also assist, and they're clear with the standards for the program.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next. Okay, I think we went over everything on here. So does anyone have any questions? I know I went pretty quick on that.
Okay, boleh mà.
All right, we good?
There's a question in the chat. Boxes, if they are clean, can they be reused?
Wax boxes?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. As long as they are in near new condition, yes. But they have to be pristine.
Yeah, I'd say it's really up to your judgment. And then, you know, this could be something that is flagged for a referral then. If we notice that their conditions are poor in the boxes, then it can be it can be flagged either at Food Hub when they're picking up or at the end user. And then we would go through that referral process and figure out what the problem is and get it solved.
Just think wholesale. If it wasn't something that you thought a wholesale buyer would take, then odds are it's probably not something that we're interested in the program. It might not fall into our specs.
And then there was another question. Is there a lift on the truck?
Okay, that's a good question. So we have 3 different types of vehicles available for pickup. At larger farms that have a dock, we do have semis that we can roll in with. But most of our pickups are done on a 28-foot straight truck with a lift gate on it. Everything's refrigerated. And we also have a small high roof van with a refrigeration unit on it that we use for smaller pickups as well. If we're just doing like the example earlier of 5 boxes, that might be something we would pick up with our smaller van instead of sending a large straight truck out. Also, as we establish our route with you at the beginning of the season, it's important that we know of any limitations. Like if your driveway, say, to get into your farm has low access and we won't be able to get a large truck down the road, or it's rough or you have weight limits, just let us know and we can switch to a lighter weight vehicle that's a little bit more nimble to make sure that we can pick up your product in a way that's easiest for you. But yes, for anything heavy, we do like to use a lift gate, and we have a pallet jack available as well. If you have pallet forks too, that's helpful if you have a tractor, but we always will have a pallet jack available to roll things on and off of the truck.
Doesn't look like any more questions in the chat.
All right, we're good. We can move along.
Awesome. So did everybody, this should have been, everybody who's participating in the virtual training should have received a binder that has been mailed to you.
Excuse me, can you pause for a few seconds? We are having a in-person simultaneous translation problem.
Okay.
A few seconds only.
Yeah, so we do have interpretation over Zoom, and we have interpretation that's happening in person as well. So we are always bound to have some difficulties. So Katie, I see your message. You did not receive a binder in the mail. So I'll make a note of that and we'll see. Done. And we'll just give them some time to come back.
Rồi, có sự hơn nông lợi sẽ của sạc áo hay tại bị xả hay tại của mặt của những mô lúc của lời trâu ta xí mà của mua trâu ít kho chế thầu nông lại tốt thâu đó của mua thâu trâu lò đi nên cậu bé châu nó thì ready trâu lời mà tốt thâu của lấy thì nó lò.
Yeah, it's great.
In order to get them ready, she does have her own refrigerator. Let's say the truck is, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes out. Is she able to then take it out of her refrigeration and let it sit for a little bit while the truck's on its way? Or do you guys like it to be like right as he's pulling up or she's pulling up to her driver for her to pull the stuff out of her refrigerator?
Well, we could have the driver make contact with her to give her a precise ETA, and then we could start getting ready to load so that everything would be going straight onto the truck.
Okay.
In high summer, when it's really hot, I wouldn't recommend leaving anything out any longer than you absolutely have to, especially if it's going from cold to hot back to cold again. It's one thing if it's hot, and we're going to try to cool it in the truck. But I would say that for the most part, if it's coming out of refrigeration at the last second is the best policy.
Okay.
You agree, Tate?
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. There's a question in the chat. Question in the chat on who do we contact to request receiving an ETA?
we'll establish that when we start setting up routes and figuring out pickup times. We're trying to make sure that we always have the producer's contact information included on our driver sheets so that they always have a point of contact, which is why we were asking for phone numbers when I've been reaching out to everyone. So we'll talk the week before when we set up our
Đúng một cái
time
chớ.
window, and then you just let us know what time, or you just let us know how long out you want us to have the driver let you know when they're gonna get there. Does that make sense? So if you want half an hour notice, we'll give you half an hour notice. If you want an hour's notice.
Yeah,
we
cú
can
đi
give
mà
you
cú hay có khi là nó cú mà cú có tới hông cú cho tao chơi gì hàng đeo rồi. Thế mà nó tao học khó ý là cú chuyện nhá học sao học nó chơi. Giờ lên đấy chỉ cho nhớ sổ phẳng này để tôi chọn thôi. Cú tao thâu kia cú mà mất cú chỉ mất cú cho không ready đó là để tôi chọn. Cú theo là để thâu tao cú cho không nó sao. Thế mà cú prefer là giờ lấy tôi chọn lấy chủ khu cú giờ lên đấy chỉ có lấy khu cú nó rồi. Cú mỗi lần cái ready chút chút trong đấy là giờ để bà đi thâu cái bài cái mà nó được.
All right, do we have the Farley Center back?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We are fine.
Okay. Excellent. So, if you
Quý
successfully
sắc
receive
cái
your
lỗ hút
binder,
nó tốt của tôi cái nó ok. Nhưng lý có được quý sắc cái lỗ hút kia tôi ok. Của tôi cho nó chỉ là muốn đi cầu nó thì là phải cho nó thịt không được cũng chua nó sẽ mày à.
all right. So we're gonna keep moving forward here. For those that did receive their binder, they're on page 22. There's a quiz that we can go through. Sorry to throw a pop quiz into you, but hopefully, if you receive your binder, you went through this and have some already maybe got a head start on it. But if you can go to page 22, if you have your binder, we can just walk through these questions quick. And they're on the screen as well. So if you don't have your binder, you can check it on the screen. So, and I think we'll just either throw these out in the chat or feel free to come off mute and go through and throw out the answer that you think for each of these. So for number 1, true or false, unripe tomatoes can be delivered at room temperature. And I will say you can use your back of your binder, the specifications. There's really great, beautiful, per item, all of these has the specifications for the items for wholesale standards. And again, this is on page 22, this quiz. What does everybody think for number 1? True or false on that? Anybody?
Nó cơ.
We got 1 true. That is true. So unripe tomatoes can be delivered at room temperature. So, once they're ripe, we are really looking for, their shelf life is not gonna last as long. So
Chỉ nó có là từ tu hành này có là các tu hành cái cái tu hay tu chỉ nó.
Okay, so number 2, what should every case of product be labeled with? This one's a little tricky. What did Eric go over?
Cái number all hả?
D. That is correct. So it's all of the above. The case needs to be labeled with the farm or producer name, the product name and the quantity, the date and the date packed. So as Eric said, those labels, he has that template. Really important to have these all listed on your cases. So there's that traceability. So good job, everybody, on that one. Number 3, so I don't think we have any meat producers on this call, but true or false that meat always needs to be packed in 25-pound cases. That is false. So we just are asking that it's under 40 pounds. For everybody's back's sake, we don't want to be pulling any backs here. And then 4, why is it crucial to avoid overpacking certain vegetables like cucumbers and zucchinis? What do we think that one would be?
可能要请假干了，还要 true or false 呢？false 哦，
To avoid bruising
给
and
叫到领导那边。
and that is correct. Yeah, so we had a question in the chat about turning to English is not turning off the translation. So we are still hearing Chi in the main chat here. Does anybody know how to figure that out? I'm so sorry.
Hey, if you don't mind, I'll
叫
see if,
Chinese
see if you don't mind. She go look on your phone. Can you có một học cá nè, có một cái interpretation có một đâu mong nè, có bao lâu?
我去经常个 what do I need to do? L companion 个把个那咯。
học cá học cái screen mua được có interpretation cái gì họ có nè, có một đâu
个
mong
Chinese
cái
哦，
đó là sẵn họ có nè, họ có hai lô cái sẵn sẵn tụi họ tả nè.
经常个用了。
I think the mong selection
Sure.
on the interpretation is
个係
wrong.
好假好咯，你
I don't know
摸
if you're saying the same thing or not.
Yeah, it's listed in Chinese just because there wasn't an
好
option.
咯，因為個 Chinese 嘛。
Chỉ có hai cái thật có hai lô cái gì sẵn sẵn tụi họ tả nè, đó là hai lên đó nè.
Sure. 個 Chinese 已經叫 Chinese 嘅。
họ mong
要 Chinese 哦。
họ mong là bảo rồi nè, đó là họ có hai năm mà có
好，你我哋 English Chinese 已經叫 Chinese 哦。
chỉ có
但是嘛，個嘛個內容但是嘛經內容對拎咯，你錄轉行啊。
có translator 那播nè.
個錄嘢你個係
There, and thank you for I'm just putting the recording back on. And so number 4 was C. 5, I'm just going to run through the rest of these just to make sure and tell you where you can find these. So for number 5, there are 24 bunches per case of these items. And again, you can find that in the back of your binder under those specifications. You'll see that for radishes, scallions, kale, and turnips, there are 24 bunches. So that's really important to know that for if you're packing these bunched items. And then for 6, so for 6 and 7, these are both beets that we're dealing with here. And then it's different case sizes depending on what they are. So for bunched beets, that standard is packed in a bushel in a 9th box. And for topped beets or bulk beets for 25 pounds, those are packed in a 5/9 bushel box. So it's just important to know that, for the same item, depending on, if they have their tops on or not, depends on the size of box that is most commonly used in wholesale standard packing. For 8, that all peppers, no matter the variety, should be packed in a 1 1/9 bushel box. That is false. So, typically we're seeing bell peppers in a 1 1/9 bushel, but smaller peppers like jalapenos, other hot peppers will be packed in a 5/9 bushel box. And that's just because of the weight on those. And true or false,
Yeah, cũng nó sẽ cũng chỉ nó cóเลย
delivered.
但是我因為你哋個做米家都個cũng nó sẽ
So we're summer squash can be delivered at room temperature. That is false. So that needs to be in refrigerated transport. And number 10, my favorite, if you are in a pinch, use packaging like banana boxes and other boxes can be used to ship your products. That is a false. Eric went through that, why we try to avoid those banana boxes. They're really not sturdy and we don't know what was used, we can't know what they've been used for previously as well. So they're just not a great box to use for produce. And then 11, meat products can be delivered fresh or frozen. This is really important. That is false. We are only can accept product that is frozen. So no fresh meat into the program. And then number 12, you should always wash your produce, even if it looks like it doesn't need to be washed. Anybody have a guess on that one? On their thoughts? That is false, right? So we got one coming through the chat there. So some product, if it doesn't need to be washed, it's always a good opportunity or it's always good to not wash that product, because washing that product just adds to how quickly that product will break down, and the shelf life will decrease greatly. Also, the potential to add any pathogens to the product increases by washing. So washing is a very risky part of the farm. So we try to, if you don't need to wash your produce, it's a good to not do it. Thank you all so much for taking the time to do this. So we will take just like a 5-minute break. It's 1:25 now. So we'll join again up at 1:30. So feel free to stay on the call, and you can go on mute, turn off your video if you need to, but we'll get started again at 1:30. Thank you all. And feel free if you have any questions about this quiz on page 22. We are here. All right, it is 1:30, so we will keep moving. And again, if there are any questions, feel free to add them in the chat. We're monitoring that. Or feel free to come off mute and ask. We really want to make sure that if there's any questions, if you have a question, it's likely that somebody else in the room might also have it. So really encouraging to, if there's anything at all, just feel free to hop off mute or put that in the chat. So for this next section, we're going to talk about, some considerations for why selling your products and switching your market of selling to from maybe more direct to consumer to farm to food access wholesale. So, what we're looking at is, when considering this switch, think about the volume and consistency that comes with selling wholesale products. So, you can really identify, what products are working well, what do you grow well, what do you enjoy growing, and then factor that in, that like if you're selling wholesale, there's more opportunity to sell that product at a higher volume and on a more consistent basis too. So that's just one thing to keep in mind and consider if you're making this switch. Also, the communication and logistics. So it's a really great part of this program that Food Hub is able to offer, free pickup for products and help other aggregators across the state to fund them to pick up on your farm. So that's a really great, it's just a really great thing that comes with participating in this program. And then what participating in this program also does is allows you to understand how to communicate with wholesale buyers in a more simplified fashion, I would say, than diving right into selling to a wholesale market. So we really want to view this program as a way of increasing your wholesale capacity and, being able to communicate with Eric and with your Marbleseed representatives is super important in that. So it gives you some tips on how to do that. And I won't want to say a lower stakes method, but it's certainly, we're able to help you through selling through this model. So it also kind of allows you to, again, as we went over in the back of your binder, all those specifications for each item. It allows you to understand what those quality pack standards are and to be able to just, again, provide you that education and that and ability to help you pack for wholesale markets. So we're here to help you through those again. Eric, is more than happy to answer any questions, as well as all of us at Marbleseed. If you have anything about, how to pack your products, you definitely can reach out to us and we'll let you know. And then just to gaining that market access. So, it allows you to understand, what the market is calling for. We will go over this in a second, but, what the pantries are looking for, and then identifying how you can gain that market access as well. Again, like we talked about, transportation costs, super great part of this program is having some of that covered. for you. And then that last part, and what we've heard a lot, from reviewing applications, from the storytelling that's happening in this program, what producers are really what they really love about this program is they get to serve their local community and serve the state of Wisconsin. That's such an important part of this program of where your food is going is to those that need it. And we've seen so many amazing, pantry sites and food banks across the state that are doing really incredible work, and they're so happy about this program. So we definitely want to highlight that it's really important that we're serving our local community through this program. Next slide, please. Here are a couple of resources. So these are both online. There's the Wisconsin Local Food Marketing Guide that's put out through DATCP. This is the 3rd edition. You can just search that. You can Google that and find it. It's a really great resource, and it's not just for wholesale. There's information about selling direct to consumer there as well. The other one on the right, that Wholesale Success Guide, this is a really, there's been multiple editions of this, and this is the only one I could find for free online. So again, just Googling Wholesale Success, and you can find a PDF version of this. They also have hard copies available that you can purchase through that website. So really great guide just to be able to understand that wholesale. And then again, these binders that we have mailed out, really good information in there as well. So take a look through all of these, and if you have any questions, definitely reach out. And next slide, please. Some more opportunities. So we did have the Marbleseed Organic Farming Conference in February. We do have, we were able to discount the attendance for LFPA producers. We also just found out we'll be having New Farmer University, which Marbleseed puts on with help from other partners across the Midwest. So we did determine that is going to be actually happening in Wisconsin this summer. So we'll be sure to pass along that information. How New Farmer University works is there's different presenters that come in on different topics. So whether that's marketing, any legal information or production, we have just various different presenters that come in, and it's usually over 2 days, and there's lots of good time for networking and just being in the presence of other farmers across, the Midwest. So really great opportunity. So once we get those details put together, we'll be sure to send it out through the listserv and have it on the website as well. So the website, you will see there's lots of great events already posted. So I encourage you to just every so often go to the website, check out what's new. There's, a lot of great information on there. There's, if you need an online version of anything in the binder is available online on the website as well. Sorry, if you can go back, apologize. The Good Acres Wholesale Standard, that is in the back of your binder as well. That's a separate handout. That has it's like a ring, and it's a really nice, quality paper. So it's something you can take into your pack shed, your packing area, and it can get dirty and not get ruined. So it has, let me pull it out here actually, show it. You can see this is really good quality. It can get wet and it won't be affected too much, but it has what's really nice is it has the size of products, right? So this carrots, you can see here, and it says no through here, too short, and then yes, this is the size you're looking for, anything here and bigger. So, and then it'll have the bushel size, how to put it on the pallet, which is really great. So it has these for just some of the more common items that are grown through the Midwest. So this is a really great resource, also available online if you need another copy of it. And then that last one is there's lots of good information about how to build a hand washing station that you can have in your field. And we'll talk about it a little bit in food safety at part of this too, but having a hand washing station close to your field is so important. So you don't have to stop what you're doing if your hands get dirty and there's a risk of contamination to your produce. and, you know, drive across the, you know, the field to back to the home base to wash your hands. So this is a really great resource that's available on our website as well as a handout in your binder. All right. So I wanted to go over a wholesale success story that we had through the program last year. And that was Vang Tao and Vang Zhang of JL Produce in Milwaukee. They grow produce on 2 plants of land in southeast Wisconsin. So they rent 2 different farms. They participated in 2023 in the program and sold a variety of products. Most of those products did go to Hunger Task Force in Milwaukee. But with the help from Food Hub Co-op, their produce also reached Brown County, Menominee County, and Eau Claire. So by participating this next upcoming season in 2024, they're able to reduce the amount of farmers markets they vend at and focus more time on their farm and kind of make this switch to more wholesale selling. So they sell through the LFPA program, they sell directly to Hunger Task Force in another program that they have started. So it's really great to see those relationships being, you know, starting to go to take root and really so they can not have to spend their time at those farmers markets. They were doing 4 farmers markets last year, going down as far as the Chicago suburbs. And, you know, with help from this program, they were able to really transition their way of selling and move to those crops that make the most sense for them to grow. So we're really happy to see that happen. And then the next slide, this is a picture of Vang, and they started really with a simple thought in mind to provide that financial support for their family. Their farm is named after their girls, Julie and Lily, which where JL Produce came from. So they were really excited to start the small business, started the farmers markets, and they really couldn't have imagined that their produce was going all across the state to those that really need it. So they're very thankful for the opportunity to share their produce with the community and provide the freshest and healthiest produce that they can grow. And they are really interested in keeping growing and really appreciative of the LFPA program for that. And we're really appreciative of having them in the program as well as all of you on this call. So you're all doing amazing work. And if you have any stories like this, definitely, which Forrest will go over a little later on, you know, tell those stories so we can showcase this and advocate for more funding to keep going this program. All right, next please. So this is on page, I believe it's 19. There is a spot 18 and 19. So we want to take this opportunity to write down, you know, you'll see on page 18 to really focus on what you are bringing, what the value you're bringing to your crops by selling wholesale. So a lot of times, you know, when you're selling at a farmer's market, you're maybe selling directly off your farm. You can talk directly with that person who's buying your produce, right? And it's really easy to, you know, just tell them why they should be eating your produce, right? Or your meat, or your applesauce, maple syrup, honey, for example. So when you're moved to selling more of that wholesale, it's harder to have that direct connection with the consumer of your product. So it's important to, you know, think about ways that you can add value when selling this way, you know, when selling wholesale. So, you know, we need to realize that every farm and farmer is unique, and what you offer buyers can go beyond the product itself. So how are you, you know, maybe making transactions easy and enjoyable for whoever is buying the produce from you? What products and maybe services do you offer that other farmers do not? So on page 18, I just want to take maybe a few minutes for you to think about, you know, what you are doing to add value to your product. Why should the buyer that's purchasing, you know, the product from you be interested in working from you? Is there a problem that you solve or a need that you fulfill by working with this buyer? So just think about some of those and jot them down, you know, and think of it as an elevator pitch. So, you know, an elevator pitch is a way that you can spark interest in what you or your farm does. that you should be able to deliver an elevator speech in about 30 seconds to 2 minutes. So like think about how long it takes to ride an elevator. And then so it's a nice quick example of what you are doing. So again, why should the buyer be interested? What do you solve? What need do you fulfill? If you just want to take a few minutes to write this down, there's another option. If this is something that doesn't sound good to you right now, just, feel free to move on to page 19, where you can set some SMART goals for the season. So with that, a SMART goal is something that is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. So just write down some goals of what you want to get accomplished in the 2024 season. So you don't have, like I said, you don't have to do these right now, but think about taking a look at this before the season gets started and writing some things down here so you can really focus on it during the season. So I'll give everybody a few minutes to work on either one of those on pages 18 or 19. And if there's any questions, definitely let me know or throw them in the chat and we'll be able to help you. And were you able to be added back as an interpreter again, Kang? Okay, I'll do that right now. Sorry about that. Couple more minutes for everybody. And if anybody did not receive a binder, if they're able to throw that in the chat that they didn't, that would be wonderful as well. So we can track that and make sure that we get those binders sent out.
No.
Let everybody take some more time, but does anybody want to share either their value proposition and what they wrote for their elevator pitch, or any SMART goals that they set, or any goals in general?
Wichita Shore. Wichita Shore.
An example of something maybe that a producer might include in their elevator pitch is perhaps their invoicing system, right? Like how that works for their farm, and just, understanding that, like, as soon as a product is delivered, it comes with a really nice invoice. That would sure be nice, right, Eric? For as a buyer, that's working with a producer, if they have a really quick, invoicing system. Yeah.
Any labeling we found is really helpful too. Anything that's branding that helps people to associate with your farm. All of those things.
Yeah. Anybody want to give an example? Otherwise, we will move on.
Tay, this is Katie from Christensen Farm, and since this is my first year, my SMART goal, I kind of focused on that, is just to fulfill my production goals and complete what my projected LFPA contract is, and hold my produce up to high standards in product selection. And I've been marketing for about 12 to 15 years, but I'm hoping kind of moving into this wholesale realm will help me streamline and improve my post-harvest handling procedures and overall setup. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Katie. Those are all great. And I think it's really great that, you're able to take the sheet out, right? Either one of them. And I recommend putting them somewhere where you're gonna see it and check in with these goals, right? So whether that's, on your walk-in cooler door that you're going in and out of, by your computer when you're doing your invoicing, doing your paperwork, but just having access to see these goals will hold you a little more accountable, and you're able to check in on them and then make any updates to them as you see fit. So I just recommend doing that. The more we see something, the more we're apt to learn from it and to follow through on some of these goals. Otherwise, I think unless anybody else wants to share, we can keep going. Okay, so we're gonna break out at this point because what we'll be going into further is a little more specific to produce growers. However, I don't think we have any meat producers on the call from what I noticed. We do have some value-added producers. We have honey, maple syrup, applesauce, and some other products. So we'll be opening out some breakout rooms, and I want you to just select which one that most applies to your farm, whether that's produce, and we'll go over to some more produce specific info, or going into that value added breakout room.
Yeah, hi everybody. I just created the breakout rooms. I'm going to open them now. You should see a pop-up on your screen prompting you to join either the produce or the value added breakout room. So I'm going to go ahead and open those right now. And you can just put yourself into whichever room is most appropriate for you.
So it looks like people are moving in.
And I put 20 minutes on for the break room. Did you want longer?
I think that works.
Okay.
Yeah. So Katie, if that window didn't pop up, I think, let me try this. Yeah, so for those that aren't seeing it, if you go to the more option right to the left of the end button, you can hit breakout rooms and it'll pop up the window. Let me know if you're still not seeing that.
I can also assign you to a breakout room if you can't access one yourself.
And our interpreters, I think the produce one will make
我ไปให้ conjoy produce เหรอ Joy produce yes
All right, and Forrest, you'll be managing this outside of the chat. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm gonna hop into produce and see if they're going well. Otherwise, gonna hop over to value added. Thank you.
In the breakout, so there is no way to do this. You cannot interpret in the breakout room. So I don't know. Tay, I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if it isn't easier to send all the people in the produce room to the main room, so we can still have interpretation into Mon. Maybe it makes more sense than being in this breakout room, because basically it's everybody, I think, in a sense.
Yeah, it's all, so I think that makes sense.
Yeah, so just like close this breakout room and we will have this breakout room in the main room, so the people in Mon can still interpret.
Okay. I will go back and I will make that happen.
OK. Thì chỉ tới tất cả một đầu lúc không có bắt tay là ô đó ấy tôi bị luôn không?
Can tell them they need to select interpretation into Mon again once they go back.
Chỉ tất cả mình có một.
Okay, so we're gonna have everybody jump back who's in the produce, jump back to this main room, because interpretation cannot happen in the breakout room. So it was all but 2 people were in this produce room, so we're just gonna have them all come back. So if you're able to close that room for us, I think we'll bring everybody back to this.
Okay, it looks like I'm gonna close your mic to close all of them. Do you want me to close the value-added room as well? I can just recreate breakout, like one value-added breakout room.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
All right. I'm just gonna, you let the value
Record again, and then Sarah, do you want me to stay in and keep going through the produce related items? And if so, Eric, can I have you jump to the value added?
Yeah, I can jump over to value added.
Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah. And then I'll ask Katie to share her screen again, and we're just all one big moving item here, getting this figured out. Okay. Yeah. Right there. So here we typically do a breakout when we're in person. We did not have a lot of meat producers here, so thank you for dealing with us as we figure out how to do a breakout room virtually. So really, when we're thinking about produce, when we're thinking about all items for the LFPA program, it's really important to have those projections kind of figured out and understanding what you're growing. So as I said, with the contract, you'll list what items that you want to provide for the program and those prices, which is, it's great to have that information so we can get it to the food hub and they can put it into local food marketplace. And, you know, we can have that all taken care of before the season. But then we can also think about, you know, what you are planning to have for the season in terms of projections. So, you know, sometimes farmers will have that if you grow it, they will come mentality, or, you know, they'll identify what they want to grow and plant as much as their field size allows. But really, like what we want to get across to growers is really to have that plan in place and to project out what you'll be growing so you can understand of when it is available, you know, when it is, when you might need the most labor and things like that. So, you know, having that mentality of just growing whatever you're interested in growing at whatever scale may lead to an excessive product you're unable to sell, but that's also then there's valuable space where other crops that might be able to be sold maybe a little more quickly or at a better price could have been grown. So really identifying what works well on your farm is really important. So doing a market assessment on what those crops are. Okay. So, just because, I should say a market assessment is crucial, because just because a product's easy to grow doesn't necessarily mean there's a reliable market for it, especially on a wholesale level, right? So there's certain crops that, larger farms might be able to produce at a lower cost, and they take up a lot of that market share, right? So it's important to identify what those crops might be and figure out what works well for your farm. There might be products you grow well, enjoy, but that market is saturated, like I said. So understanding the market is definitely an important part of your production. So when we looking at this information on the right side of the screen here, we surveyed food pantries, food banks that received product through the LFPA program in 2023, and did a survey. And some of the questions we asked were, what products do they want more of, and what do they want less of? So you'll see all the items on the left, and we have generally seen this to be definitely accurate, that this is what they're asking Food Hub for more of, and what we're trying to just share that with the growers so they can understand that. I will say, with the products that are listed on the right as less, it really depends on the part of the state that these institutions are located and who they are serving. So, for example, here in Milwaukee, for collards, the Hunger Task Force farm, they actually grow a lot of collards specifically to get out to their food pantries in Milwaukee County. Same thing for eggplant and bok choy in other parts of the state that are maybe serving the Hmong population. I know also here in Milwaukee, they're serving the south side of Milwaukee. They're growing more jalapenos and peppers and other specialty products. So, even though these products are listed in the less category, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's institutions across the state that don't want these products. It's just that we have to be a little bit more mindful of how much we're producing for the whole entire state. Part of the reason, last year, for those that participated last year, that it was kind of a little bit more open, and, you didn't have to put what you're growing on the contracts, but we really identified that doing this legwork ahead of the season is important for just to create these routes, to create these relationships with the pantries, so we can get them product that will be the most useful for their communities. So this is really important to just keep in mind as you're planning your season. And again, just because you're growing something that's in that less category, that's not bad. It's just we have to be a little bit more mindful of how that's all coming together. Okay. And then when, thinking about production planning, thinking about your projections, it's really important to have that in mind, because, understanding what you want to grow and how much of it to grow to supply your market will help you find that space in your field to make sure, or if you're growing animals, to have enough pasture for your animals. So really important to keep that in mind. It helps with your crop rotation as well. Make sure you are rotating crops appropriately to avoid any of those pests and diseases, and make sure that, you're just taking soil health into consideration, right? Are you giving your land any rest? Are you using cover crops that might take out that field for part of the season? So identifying, what you all want to grow, and then make sure that there's that space for it in the field is so important. And then I saw a question come through. We can certainly share that list out after this meeting with those more and less crops, Sarah. We talked about how projections are an important piece specifically for your farm business, allowing you to plan for your labor needs, allows your buyers to understand when that product is available, at what quantity as well, ensures you have enough packaging, right? We talked about that, really critical to have those packaging orders in ahead of time. But projections are also really important for our program. It allows our program partners to know approximately what is available and when, so we can therefore let pantries and food banks know. It allows for those routes to be created, and it lets us at Marbleseed know when to prioritize education and technical assistance, right? So it's important to have that in mind for when products approximately will be available per farm, so we can put all of these pieces together and not have to scramble as much during the busy part of the season. And we do understand that projection dates may change due to weather, production issues, other events, but that preseason projection will give you and the LFPA team a great starting point, right? So if there are any changes due to, we've had a pretty crazy winter and spring so far, right? With some different temperatures, getting a ton of moisture right now, which is great, at least here in the southeastern part of the state. But we identify that we know that all of those things can change your projections, but having that starting point is critical. So then you can, really update it as needed and have that starting point. Okay. So here's an example form that we put together. So you may have received this from your Marbleseed specialist, and we can send this out in the email afterwards as well. So there's a digital copy you can use. This is an Excel. So you can see that these columns on the right, the total amount will go up to that column, that total contract amount in the top middle. So you can list the products that you are interested in providing for the program, list your price in there, and then when they'll be available and how many cases per week, and add it up so you can, if you have a $15,000 contract, you can list everything that you are growing, at what cost, how much of it will be available, and try to see how much that accounts for your projected contract amount then, right? So again, it's just really important to have this on for you on the farm, but it's also helpful for us to plan our season. So the more of these we can get in from you as producers, it just makes it a lot easier on our end for sure. So we'll send this out. If you have any questions on it, just talk with your Marbleseed representative. We can set up some time to go through this with you and list these items and get it figured out. Are there any immediate questions on this right here? Right, seeing none, we can move forward. So as I said, projections may change as the season goes on. It's important to monitor your projections then and make any of those updates as needed, because being reliable in an unpredictable market is key to good customer relationships. So like, as we said before, when we're going through your value proposition, being reliable is super critical for those lasting good relationships. So in the long term, let's say you've already sent your projections in and you need to make some tweaks. That's when you would stay in communication with your Marbleseed representative. You'd let us know, let's say, you were planning on growing beets, but those seeds didn't come in, and you're not going to grow as many of them. Just let us know then, so we can update your projections that you've already sent in. In the short term, as Eric said, when he was going through that transportation, the transportation request form, get in contact with Eric as soon as you know that something will change with what you are planning on having available through the program. So he needs to know for pickup in that shipping request form. So be sure to communicate any changes to your pickup needs as soon as possible, so everything goes smoothly. And we're going to skip this break just because I know we'll be getting out earlier than expected today, and we want to allow some time for a lot of questions and any other networking that we want to do. So I'll keep going here. If Forrest, if you're on and you want to, or no, that's okay. We don't necessarily have to go through this with those other folks in the value added group. So as we said earlier, GAP, which is Good Agricultural Practices, or any other type of food safety verification, is not required for the Wisconsin LFPA program. However, it is a common requirement for selling into the wholesale market. So, really, if you're any size farm, if you're selling any type of market, whether that's at a farmer's market, CSA, or wholesale, farms can benefit from implementing a food safety program on their farm. So a food safety program consists of a written food safety plan, although it's definitely not a requirement. Any risk assessments that are taking place on your farm, so documenting what those risks are and how you are mitigating those risks. Any applicable records that go along with your food safety plan, as well as training employees and continuous improvement. So there's always opportunity to improve what you're doing on your farm when it comes to food safety. There's always going to be risks that are present on your farm. That's just the way it works. Farms are, they're dirty. They're working with nature, right? So there's always going to be risks, but it's just how you mitigate those risks and how you continuously improve. So you can go to the next slide, please. So this is a very blurry picture of the produce food safety letter guarantee, which we talked about. So it goes through some points just about the most common things, good places to start for farms that maybe don't have these already in place, right? So farm food safety training for all employees. So this can happen at the beginning of the season and then ongoing as needed, especially if you have, if you're hiring throughout the season and more people are coming in. Make that part of your orientation for the new workers, is to really understand that food safety is critical on the farm, and to do that consistent training with everybody.
Tay, we got a question in the chat.
Yep. Okay. Sorry, let me open that back.
There's a sample of a DAP plan that we can see.
Yeah, absolutely. I can share some templates that are available for food safety plan. And then that's the nice thing about food safety for produce. It's really been focused on heavily over the last 10 years. Some of you might be familiar with the FSMA produce safety rule. So we're really kind of focusing more on food safety for produce, when before that there really hasn't been anything in place. So with that, there are templates that are available. So I can certainly share those out with anybody who's interested. And this is a really good point to note too, that like your Marbleseed representatives can help you out with any food safety questions. Specifically, I've previously worked for doing food safety consulting specifically for small farms. And then I was an auditor as well for GAP. So I'm familiar with, assisting small farms with the requirements, while also having that auditor lens and knowing what to look for on farms and how to, like I said, mitigate those risks. So certainly I will share that with you, and we can work together on putting a food safety plan together. Absolutely. And then number 2 then on there is that, as we kind of talked about, that adequate and readily available toilet facilities, hand washing, making sure they're stocked with soap, running water. And running water doesn't necessarily mean that it's piped, right? It can be gravity fed, like that in-field hand washing station that we kind of took a look at. Single-use towels are pretty critical for that, or just something to make sure that there's no contamination between people who are using a towel to dry their hands. And then a spot for the water that's coming out of that system, as well as trash. And then a sign is always critical too. And if you're, working in multiple languages, it's really great to have a sign that is in multiple languages for that. That third point is water testing. So it's really good idea to at least annually take water tests for your farm. And that could be, for both the post-harvest water you're using, as well if you're doing any irrigation, especially if you are irrigating with surface water. Really critical to have those tests in place, because that is a higher risk than well water when irrigating your crops. And then number 4 is just any employees who are sick or have open sores or wounds, any cuts, just that they're not permitted to harvest or be in contact with the product. We don't want to spread anything that they might have to the product. And then the 5th point is the grazing. So just to make sure that if you also have animals on your farm, that you're taking that into account for where the fields are located, where irrigation ponds might be, or you know, any lanes that are getting from your field to your packing shed. And then that 6th point is just that refrigerated transport, which we covered earlier. So there are exceptions to this, which include onions, potatoes, rutabagas, winter squash, sweet potatoes, and unripe tomatoes, like we went through in that quiz. So any questions on that, reach out to your Marbleseed representative, and we can help you out with those requirements. Okay. So we did offer, you should have seen this come through, but we did offer free Produce Safety Alliance grower trainings for LFPA producers. The next one, registration's unfortunately closed because it's Wednesday and Thursday of this week is this next round of the training. So we're doing a 2-day half-day training. It covers 8 hours, but we're doing it over 2 days. So if you unfortunately missed this opportunity, please just check the Safe Wisconsin Produce website, and that's through the Department of Agriculture in Wisconsin, for more trainings that are available throughout the year. Because it's really great to have this training. You get a certificate at the end of it. That is a training requirement for if your farm is covered by the produce safety rule. And we're not going to get into like those requirements of the produce safety rule because a lot of the producers in this program are qualified exempt. But if you have any questions on the produce safety rule, just reach out to your Marbleseed rep, and you know, definitely you can reach out to me directly, because I can go over what those exemptions are, you know, how much money you have to be producing to meet those requirements and all of that. So it's a little tricky, and I don't want to waste anybody's time with it. It's better conversation to have one-on-one for sure. So check out the website, and we'll be sure to share any opportunities as well for any of these other trainings. All right, so it looks like we got people coming back in a little bit from that room, but I will wait till they come back to go over this next portion. That kind of worked out. That timing was perfect. Any questions on food safety? Right. Someone just wants to give me Forrest, if you want to give me a thumbs up when they're back, so they don't have the whole everybody listed here. All right, looks like they're back now. Welcome back, everybody. We just went over produce projections and a little bit of food safety info. If you do have any questions on food safety, though, just definitely reach out to your Marbleseed rep, and we will work with you on those. But we went over some kind of specific to produce information there. So wanted to talk about farmer-to-farmer cooperative learning and education opportunities that we're doing this year. So really excited to be offering some on-farm peer education opportunities. We have those set for September 17th in Manitowoc at Sullivan Family Farm, and then September 20th at Yoela Farms in Stoughton, that's Dan Cornelius's farm. That one's on Friday, September 20th. So we're also putting together currently a event in Northwest Wisconsin as well, just figuring out some last details on that so we can get those all submitted. So you should be seeing that within the next month, as well as some registration information for those on-farm events. And what we're doing for those is we selected specifically farms that are growing both produce and meat for the program. So these diversified farms. So there's just a little bit more for farmers that either they're growing produce, meat, value added, just more for them to see that's going on in the farm. So there'll be opportunities to visit the farm, take a tour depending on what you want to look at, whether that's produce, whether that's meat, whether that's more value added info. And then for part of the day, and then we'll all be coming back together, and we will be having an open space methodology of like getting in a circle, you know, not having a true agenda, but really leaving it up to the attendees that are there at the event to talk about, you know, ways that what they're doing with farming for food, farm to food access. So selling to the LFPA program or working directly with a food bank or pantry, and ways that they can, you know, ways that they need more support from, you know, from us, from the program, from the state, from the USDA, and just ways that we can keep improving local food getting into you know, food security programs across the state and, you know, across the country, hopefully, right? So that's what we'll be kind of focusing on for those on-farm events. They're free, and there'll be, you know, snacks and beverages provided, and just a lot of time for networking as well. So those are those opportunities, September 17th and September 20th. They'll be listed soon, and then as soon as we figure out that last date, it's either going to be late July or early August in the northwest part of the state. So, and then also something we're doing this year is to learn from a farmer or support a farmer. So on that onboarding survey that everyone filled out, there was some questions about this. If you're interested in serving as you know, a farmer that other participants in the program can reach out to. It's not necessarily a mentorship program, because with that goes in a lot of other details and usually payments and things. So it is more of, you know, just a list of folks that you can reach out to on specific products in your region that you can talk to. So we really want to highlight that, you know, the producers in this program know a lot than I know for sure. And we really want to celebrate those relationships being made from, you know, from farmer to farmer. So we'll have more information on that soon. And I really appreciated everybody I've reached out to that's, you know, interested in serving as a point person. And, you know, we'll have that list available shortly. And then just want to share that we'll be sending out other conferences, workshops, field days, and webinars through the listserv, the LFPA listserv, to just more opportunities for you to keep learning, keep connecting, and that sort. So watch your email just for other opportunities that are coming through, as well as check, as I said earlier, check the website, the events page for some of these as well. And then I will hand it over to Forrest.
All right. Thanks, Tay. We are in the home stretch. I just want to take a few minutes to cover some of the network development opportunities that are available through the LFPA program. So first and foremost, I'm going to put a link in the chat. This is the link to the Wisconsin Farmers Union complimentary application. This link will allow you to join the Wisconsin Farmers Union free of charge through the LFPA program. If you haven't done so already, I would highly recommend that you do this. I'll talk a little bit more about Farmers Union benefits in a moment. So that is in the chat. So through the LFPA program, we know that we want to make sure that we are getting producers in contact with hunger relief organizations and others involved in the food system in our state. Strong food systems rely on strong interpersonal connections. And so we have a couple of events coming up that I wanted to share with you all. So again, the first step to do some network development is to sign up for your Farmers Union membership. We also have some monthly food system calls. These are on the first Wednesday of each month. We've got one coming up this Wednesday from 3 to 4 p.m. And I'm going to put a link to that one in the chat as well, if you give me one moment. These are a great opportunity to connect directly with hunger relief organizations that are involved in the LFPA program. And yeah, that link is in the chat. Now, again, that's this Wednesday. Additionally, we have a spring farmer gathering happening on April 27th. we're to Grow It Forward in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. Grow It Forward is an awesome partner on the LFPA project, and we're so excited to host an event with them. Lunch will be provided. The event goes from 2 to 5. Again, that's in Manitowoc on April 27th. A link to that one is in the chat as well. Beyond that, we've got some other opportunities to network coming up. The Wisconsin Farmers Union holds our summer conference every year at the beautiful Camp Kenwood, our camp facility on Lake Wissota. That's outside of Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, near Eau Claire. And that's a great opportunity to network with other Farmers Union members and to learn more about this organization. Additionally, we are going to host a fall farmer gathering. Stay tuned for more information on that. We've got some storytelling workshops coming up. So if you are interested in sharing your experience in the LFPA program, in sharing the cool, innovative things that you're doing on your farm, stay tuned for more information about our storytelling convenings coming up later this summer. Additionally, later this summer, we've got some route visits. So myself and some of our other Farmers Union staff, our community liaisons, will be visiting farms in the along our distribution routes that the Food Hub has set up. And we'll be doing collecting some testimonials and photos and other promotional materials about your farm. So if you're interested in participating in that, again, stay tuned. It's always great to check our website. That's wilocalfood.org for updates and events on the program. If you could go to the next slide, please. So yeah, again, just want to highlight that complimentary Wisconsin Farmers Union membership application. Wisconsin Farmers Union membership is usually $30 for a family for the year, and that $30 is covered through the LFPA program for your full time in the program. If you are already a member of Wisconsin Farmers Union, you'll just get a credit added to the end of your membership. So when your membership would run out, you'll just get a credit for another year on that. You can scan the QR code to access that complimentary membership application, or again, I put that link in the chat. Next slide, please. Being part of Farmers Union comes with a slate of benefits. So, and I will say too that Farmers Union is a great organization. In addition to the benefits listed here, I think the community of farmers in this organization has been super important to me. I first heard about my local Farmers Union chapter in 2017. I was living in Vernon County, and some members of the local Farmers Union chapter participated in an event on healthcare, and I just really admired the sense of community that members of the Farmers Union had, the desire to better their communities and improve life for rural people in Wisconsin. I think it's a really cool organization, and there's a lot of good work that we can do through Farmers Union. But in addition to that, we've got lots of benefits for our members. So these include educational programming and member events. We have a summer camp program and other youth programming. All this and more can be found in the Wisconsin Farmers Union newsletter, comes out every couple months, in addition to our e-news, which comes out on a more regular basis. If you are still looking for insurance for LFPA, we do have an insurance requirement. The Hastings Mutual Insurance Company offers a 9% discount to all Farmers Union members. So that's a small savings there. Additionally, we offer a 5% discount to Johnny's Select Seeds. So if you are still looking to purchase seeds for the upcoming season, reach out to me and I can get you that discount, as long as you've signed up for your Farmers Union membership. And then lastly, listing in the Wisconsin Local Food Directory is a great benefit that we offer through Farmers Union. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in the next slide. So the Wisconsin Local Food Directory is a new online platform that has been developed through the LFPA program. And the purpose of this platform is to give farmers and food access organizations an opportunity to connect. And additionally, to give farmers an opportunity to connect with all sorts of consumers from across the state. if you are interested in joining the directory, you do have to be a member of Farmers Union to do that. And our database coordinator, Julie Hines, can walk you through setting up the directory profile. Essentially, it's a profile on the directory where you can list what products your farm has available. You can post pictures, you can post links to your social media or website. It's just free marketing, basically. Yeah, and Julie Hines can help you set that up. So once you've signed up for your Farmers Union membership, she'll reach out to you and help you set up that directory profile. That directory can be viewed on our website, again, wilocalfood.org. And that's under the Find Local Food tab. I'll also post a link to that directory in the chat, just in case you're interested in taking a look. And if we could go on to the next slide. So this is just a little bit of step-by-step instructions to sign up for that directory. Again, you'll see Julie Hines, her email address is down there at the bottom under section 4. Please reach out to her if you need any help. Again, if you prefer to do it yourself, this is the process for signing up, be part of the local food directory. Yeah. And if there's any questions about that, again, feel free to reach out to me, reach out to Julie. We're always here to help. Our information is also listed in your binders. Next slide, please. All right, just again, reminders of some upcoming events. We've got those local food system calls. Those are every Wednesday from 3 to 4. The next one is coming up this Wednesday, April 27th, that networking event in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. And then July 18th is the date for the Wisconsin Farmers Union Summer Conference. Stay tuned for that. We've got some really exciting programming and some cool opportunities for our LFPA farmers to participate in that. So I hope to see some of you there. Again, wilocalfood.org/events for a full list of our upcoming LFPA programming, including those educational events that Tay was speaking about, and other networking events available through Farmers Union. Next slide, please. And then the final component of Farmers Union's participation in the LFPA program is storytelling. So I mentioned this a little bit earlier. We've got some plans for storytelling convenings across the state, those route visits. We're going to be doing some really cool data visualization, some animated video projects, and some farmer highlights that will be posted on social media and through Wisconsin Farmers Union's other press channels. So feel free to take a look at the storytelling portal again on our website, wilocalfood.org. I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm going to keep plugging that website. And if you're interested in participating in any of our storytelling efforts, I've got the contact info for Lane Causalino. She is our communications specialist for the LFPA program. She is very talented and doing a great job getting your stories out there. So if you want to participate in any capacity, if you want to share recipes, share something cool that's happening on your farm, share photos, share testimonials, all that stuff is great. And we'll be posting that through our Farmers Union channels and on our WILFPA Facebook page. So do make sure to give that a follow as well. And then we will be reaching out later this spring to set up some of those storytelling convenings and route visits. So I'm really excited about the storytelling component of this program. This is a great way to advocate for the program, to let people know about the good work that we're doing through LFPA, and just get the word out there about your farm as well as you move into more wholesale business. This is just great marketing. I think that's pretty much all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you all need help filling out the Farmers Union complimentary membership application, I'm happy to help with that. Julie can also give you a hand. And we have 3 new community liaisons. You may have seen an email come through on our listserv introducing them. Their contact information is also on our website. Feel free to reach out to myself, to Julie, and to any of them if you've got questions. We are always here to help, and we are excited to welcome you to Farmers Union. So thanks so much, and I think we'll move on to wrap up in questions.
Yeah, so we kind of went through that pretty quick in a virtual setting. So I do want to allow any time for questions through the chat, or just come off mute and talk that through. I think also, you know, when we finish that up, if anybody does want to stick around just for some networking, we're totally here for that as well. So, you know, we can either do some more breakout rooms, or we can you know, just all stay on and talk some more. So any questions or comments right now? Before folks jump off too, I just want to say that you'll be getting a follow-up email. We'll send out an evaluation for the day, so we can really understand of what went well, what didn't, you know, and tweak anything. We do have a couple more in-person events. So Thursday up in Ashland, and then Bayfield. On this Thursday, we're going to be meeting in Ashland, and then going up to CORE, which is a partner that received food through the LFPA program last year, and just visiting them. So if you want any information on that, just reach out to your Marbleseed rep so we can get you that info if you want to head up north. There's also going to be April 15th, Monday, in Door County in Sturgeon Bay. There'll be an opportunity. I know both those locations are kind of, you know, might be a little far for folks to travel. So just want to give you that opportunity if you want to attend those. They're going to be a shorter training, kind of what we covered today, but then more time for networking and more time to learn from food security organizations specifically. So we're really looking forward to those. And then, yeah, if there's any questions, just definitely let us know, and watch for that email. If we can get those evals, it's super critical for us to just learn, as well as to, you know, provide any feedback to the LFPA program in general.
Tay, can I ask a question? This is Katie.
Absolutely.
So as far as the projections, let's just, for instance, if I have on my contract projected 1,000 pounds of, slicing cucumbers, but it is a bumper crop this year, and I've got cucumbers coming out of my ears, and wow, that could be 2,000 pounds over, 2 weeks instead of, if I let Eric know, but could I Katie, we've got too many, or how does that work? If you could.
Yeah, absolutely. We through this program, we want to allow for any fluctuations in what product availability, right? So that's why what we're absolute need is that product and the price list, and then the projections certainly help out from there. But if you are straying, if you're going above what that is, exactly, reach out to Eric through that. It's really great to have, even if like a few weeks in advance, if you're going to be having that much, just to let Eric know. He'll be able to identify what that market is for these cucumbers, right? And what food pantries are looking for. And if they are able to accept that, then that's great. But exactly, he would let you know, hey, I know we originally signed up for this 1,000 pounds, and the market is saturated, so we're able to take this much more above what you had originally thought you'd be providing for the program. But we do want to be flexible, and Eric, please correct me if I'm wrong on that, but we do want to be flexible, and I think that method of just letting Eric know ahead of time would be the best way to go.
Communication. That's what we always keep trying to drive that home. Just let us know, and we'll see what we can do, and we'll do our best. The only thing to remember is try to stay within your contract amounts. If you've got a $10,000 contract for the season, don't assume that you can just sell in whatever. We really need to stick to those numbers. And if there does come a time where there's any extra money that's available, we will make sure that everybody knows, and we'll probably potentially purchase on a case-by-case basis. But yeah, stick to your numbers, but let us know. Again, anything we can do to help, any bit of information we know is far ahead of time, that helps with the entire process, and we'll find a home for what you want to sell into the program.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions or immediate feedback? how are people feeling about, like, do people want breakout rooms to just kind of keep conversations going? Or are we feeling good? I'm gonna stop recording.